Welcome back to Lenz Comic Corner, Classics as Non-Classic. This is episode number 1384 and Doubleshot number 1278. Now, the two trades I got here are from DC's Black Label imprint. Now, I have kind of, in a way, reviewed stuff from this imprint before. I reviewed Batman White Knight. That was technically the first one I reviewed, but this one definitely was released under the imprint. It wasn't like re-released like this other one was. This one was a re-release under the imprint. This one is a very good one, and by far, the one character that gets several miniseries under the Black Label imprint. It's like it's basically tailor-made for this character. We have Batman, Curse of the White Knight, written and drawn by Sean Murphy. Yep, with artwork, additional artwork by Claus Johnson. Yep. Yeah, who does the artwork for a one-shot that's in here. Yes, you have the 80-issue miniseries Curse the White Knight and a one-shot called Von Freeze. It basically explores Victor Freeze's backstory in this timeline. Yep. Now, this one particularly, we have this universe version of Azrael show up. Yes, he has put on this costume, though his first costume is reminiscent of the original Joe Quesada costume that was designed for him, well, by Joe Quesada for the Sword of Azrael miniseries. Now, the interesting thing, the way they have it in here is that John Paul Valley, this version is older than the one that usually appears in regular mainstream DC. This one looks like he's roughly in his 50s, I'd say, and he's got a history with Gotham City. Where in the case of the original one, he kind of has a history, but not as big as this one. Oh no, this one has even history with the Waynes. Okay, we have now in this at the end of the previous miniseries, we had where. Well, during the course of that, we had Jack Napier, the former Joker, set up this special task force for the GCPD. This using the Batman Devastation Fund to basically create a special task force, having vigilantes be licensed vigilantes for Gotham City, working for the police department, and everybody driving Batmobiles. Which sounds like a really cool concept. And Azrael shows up and wrecks like almost every Batmobile they have. There's one that shows at the very end, which I'm so happy this one showed up here. So they delve into Azrael's back history here, this version, where they reveal a little backstory about Gotham City itself, where they talk about its founders. They talk about, well, one of the Arkhams working with Edward Wayne, a guy who was a jerk, and who apparently killed Arkham in order to get all of Gotham for himself, and the fact that the reason, and they also mention why the maps of Gotham look so weird, is because, well, they do. Also, during the first part of the miniseries, they kill off Jim Gordon. Yep, they kill off Jim Gordon. One of, like, 3 deaths you have in here. Yes, one of 3. The other person they kill off is Bane. Yeah, they have Jim Gordon die at the hands of Azrael. They get Bane get beheaded by Azrael or his battle, which that probably is like Sean Murphy, like thinking like, oh yeah, I remember, like, he probably thinking he probably does like Nightfall. He's like, man, I wish Azrael would have beheaded Bane and kept him alive. And here he does. He basically beheads him with his freaking sword. Of course, the other death in here is a character who doesn't really play a big part in the story. The Joker. Yes, the Joker. Which, this version of the Joker, even though his real name is Jack Napier, yeah, aside from the name, is there anything else from him that's based upon the 1989 version? Well, he's got his signature gun. Yeah, you know that long barrel gun he's got from the movies? Yeah, for that movie? Oh yeah, he's got it here. Oh yeah, he got it alright. Also, it's revealed in here that Harley Quinn is pregnant with Jack Napier's kids. Yep, she's pregnant, right? And about halfway through the miniseries, she gave birth to them off screen. Yep, her 2 kids. And because of the fact that Bruce Wayne, as Batman, found out about the terrible history about Gotham, and the fact that his family was involved with all the corruption for Gotham, he decides basically to publicly unmask himself and said that he's going to give away all of his entire fortune and is going to disband Wayne Corp, well, the Wayne Corporation, well, aka Wayne Enterprise, all of its subsidiaries, and basically become a non-profit and basically help better Gotham. He also mentioned he's been active since the Golden Age. So, are you? Apparently, Sean Murphy is implying Bruce Wayne must be in his 50s. I'd say 50s or 60s. He doesn't look that way into the artwork. Not really, no. Also, Barbara Gordon herself, she gets wounded by Azrael, and she gets hit in the shoulder, and she's paralyzed. Yep, she's paralyzed. Kind of make her orc, which that's quite interesting. And even Dick asks, like, why did you adopt me? And basically, because he wanted to make him a better life. And he mentions that he nearly ruined his life, but he basically helped save it. And of course, basically, he also tells Duke Thomas, yes, Duke Thomas is here, and you will make an excellent Robin. Well, they were kind of teasing that in the regular continuity as well, though he's a signal here in the regular universe. Oh yeah, he has this epic battle with Azrael, which decides to put on this outfit for some reason. Yes, even though this is heavily inspired by John Paul Valley's Batman attire from Nightfall, it's done in the way of it's done Sean Murphy style. Yeah, but it's simply put based upon that particular outfit. Namely put, if you look very closely at the outfit, he's got the signature gauntlets he had basically when he was this character, and the whole spike stuff, and the fact it's sort of like an armor-like suit. Like the John Paul Valley suit when he was Batman. I'm not sure who designed that suit, but I know that the original costume, like this one here, Joe Quesada designed that costume. This one, I'm not sure who designed it. The best person I could probably ask that, I mean, I would ask maybe Daniel Hill, but he passed away a couple of years. He passed away last year, so I can't exactly ask him. The best person I could probably ask who designed this costume is probably Chuck Dixon. Yes, he'd be the best person who designed the original costume when the Azrael used. This one's the Sean Murphy costume, obviously, because he's the one who designed this damn thing. And of course, okay, yeah. So pretty much, this book is just so good. Like, wow, so freaking good. Let me show off the gun. Like, I was so surprised the fact they were able to actually have it where he actually has his gun. Also, like, look at this. Like, yeah, that's his gun from Batman 1989. I'm like, wow. I'm like, and Joker has his ways in Arkham Asylum, which is so hilarious. Yep. Plus, you gotta love this cover here, which is a clear homage to when Azrael first became Batman. Yep. Now, what Batman does he use? Well, he uses, of all things, like, if you look at this Batmobile, like, wait, isn't this, like, look at this Batmobile. Isn't that the Tim Burton Batmobile? Oh, yes, that's Tim Burton Batmobile. It's like, oh, yeah, this is his favorite. So his favorite one is a 1989 Batmobile. Wow, like, it's like so many like references in here to 1989 Batman, because apparently it seems though that Sean Murphy must be a big fan of that movie. I mean, I like the movie too, but really, like, wow, it's like he made tons of references to it, which I think is great. This book is fantastic. I give this book roughly a 10 out of 10. It's a damn good book. I do recommend people fans of Batman. Yep, it's just so freaking good. The Victor Fries one is just simply put, this one is just his time where he was a former Nazi, and he was brought over by the Waynes to basically change his ways. And Nora Fries is here, and eventually that leads into something probably in the main book where he teams up with Harley Quinn. It's been very heavily implied in this book that Harley Quinn's got a thing for Batman. Well, Bruce Wayne, that is. I mean, what woman wouldn't, basically, because Bruce Wayne, even the regular continuity, is like Gotham City's most eligible bachelor. This, I think, he's going to get married to Catwoman. Alright, next up is Luthor. Yes, Luthor. Now, as you can see here, released in the DC Black Label imprint. But here's the interesting thing about this miniseries. It was never released under the Black Label imprint. It was only just recently it was. Yes, so this miniseries was originally published as Luthor, while the trade originally was released as Luthor, Man of Steel. This is a 6-issue miniseries written by Brian Azzarello and along by Lee Bergamo. I think I can pronounce the guy's name. Yep, this is a whole miniseries focused on Lex Luthor. Is it set in the pre-Flashpoint continuity? No, this is set in its own continuity. Well, probably the same continuity as probably Joker, which is also by the same people as well. Yep. So with this one, it's basically a lot. Now Superman is here as well, because of course Superman is. This is basically written as it was like, from what I can tell, like the 80s style Lex Luthor, mixed in a little bit with the animated series Lex Luthor. Like they have various shots of here of Superman just floating outside of Lex Luthor's window, which is something you frequently do if you read any 80s comic. Like if you watch any episode of the animated series, a lot of it would end basically with Superman confronting Lex Luthor to do some employee of his going rogue. We also have a new character named Hope, who Lex falls for. He makes out with her, and then he basically sleeps with her. Yep. Though it turns out though Hope, this beautiful woman. Let me show her off here. Like here's Lee Bedgerer, who when he draws Superman looks really good. Yes, the character Hope. Yeah, that's her name, Hope. Like, let me show you what the character looks like. She's a lovely woman. Like, oh my gosh, wow. It's like this artist did a really good job drawing this character. And it's a shame, though, this character only exists just in his miniseries. I mean, look at this. Does this remind you of the animated series, Superman animated series and 80s Superman? Now, Hope herself. Let's see if we can find her here. Of course, yes, Batman's here as well because Brian Azzarello wrote Batman. I mean, the way one character looks in here, wearing this green dress, does she look a lot like Poison Ivy? Yeah, she kind of looks like Poison Ivy. Based on the outfit, I think it's Poison Ivy, but not really stated if it is. Nope. I'm trying to find a good picture of her. We also have the brief fight between Superman and Batman here over on Green Kryptonite. Let's see, but here she is finally. Here's Hope. Yep, that's her. A woman who has a tomboyish hair, and she is hot. Like, oh my gosh, it's like she's a new superhero sponsored by Lex. Yep, and then like not long after the debut, he sleeps with her. Yep. Also, the appearance by Winslow Schott, aka the Toy Man. He's in here too. I'm like, that's interesting. Yeah, then of course Hope pays Lex a visit, and then they sleep together. Well, then they show that like later on, where apparently they sleep together. Like, yep. And look up the sex scene is done really like shadowish, so we don't see any nudity, but we do see the aftermath. We don't see her breast, but yeah, this is just afterwards. Which I want to show very briefly because I don't want to be censored for. I don't want to be like copyrighted for basically just showing off that image. Yep. Oh yeah, then it's with the Hope, this super strong woman. Turns out she's actually a robot. Yep, she's a robot. And then she dies, and of course, Superman blames Lex blames Superman for this, and well, thing ends basically him in his office by himself alone. I gotta say, really good miniseries. I give this book a 9.5 out of 10. Yeah, not the first time I read anything by Brian Azzarello, obviously. Lee Benjamin, well, aside from this, the only thing I have reviewed by him is the We Are Robin series, which was not really necessary to exist. This was a really good classic. And here's the thing. This trade paperback was surprisingly really cheap. For a series featuring a primary character from DC Comics, Lex Luthor, and DC charged $14.99 for this trade. Like, damn, that's cheap. At least in the case of this one, because it's hardcover, it makes sense. This was $29.99 for this damn thing. Yes. But as for Luthor, $14.99. I'm like, really? That's it? Wow, that's quite something. Yep. So yeah, that's it for this particular review. Stay tuned for my review for Case Goes, where that's going to be next, okay? The next video. Bye.